I actually know the fucking, I know the pen. I don't know, come here. That's more that Western kind of, I was kind of floating knowing on the very kind of macho kind of, that kind of got over. Beautiful. Yeah.
Most of the people on Zoom are got their cameras off, so
Yeah.
they're-
So how long do I give them for the 5 words again? 10? 15? Okay. Will I start?
Rice, come up there.
Yeah. Hi everybody. How are you?
Thank you.
Warm? Cold? 4? Welcome to the last Ovale of the year. It's been a journey. A circle, really, if you will, from one layer of time to another. So we'll begin like any other night with the 5 words, 5-word challenge. Perhaps everybody here knows what it is, but nonetheless, I'll outline the terms and conditions. So 5 words will be suggested by the audience.
I have drones from an online.
We have drones. We have one already. Okay. No, I've got a question. I've got a steward's inquiry. If the word is plural, can you use the singular?
Yes.
I think you can, can't you? That seems to be reasonable. Yeah, that's my understanding as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So another. Did I hear another one?
Sleigh.
SLEIGH. Yes. Okay. Drones and sleigh. Bread. As in the food stuff. Yes. Okay.
Sun.
Biscuits. Viscous. So we'll need a definition of viscous. It relates to a liquid, doesn't it? That is thick or a liquid that is thick almost to the point of being gelatinous. Okay. So can we get an example of something that is viscous? Yogurt, maybe? I don't know. Is it that? Honey, jelly, grand. We got it, yeah. Jam. Well, we had one over here. Sun.
Actually, growth came in first.
Yeah.
Growth.
Yeah, growth.
Okay, growth. GROWTHE. Yeah, as in, yeah. What you would imagine, not another word. Grand. So we now have 5 words. I'll just go through them one more time. Drones, sleigh, bread, viscous, growth. It's SLEIGH. So the challenge, which will last for approximately 15 minutes, maybe a little less, we'll see how the vibe in the room is, will be to create a poem using all of those words, all 5. I can, of course. I'll give them again in 1 second. And then the microphone will be open, and there will also be participants from Zoom, and you can come up and read your poem as you see fit. And the winner, and it's not a very serious competition. Oh no, it is very serious actually. It's a matter of life or death. The winner will be awarded a prize, and everybody else gets nothing. So with that, I'll just say the words one more time, and then I leave you to it. It is drones, sleigh, SLEIGH, bread, viscous, growth.
the nearest book.
Oh, and there's this prize of this cache of books there is the prize for the winner. Yeah, it's actually pretty good selection.
How long do we have to read? 15, is it?
Yeah, so that would take us up to 50, 20, 50 on the nose. But I mean, if it's kind of looking, yeah.
Okay. Michael Longley from Belfast.
You want to talk to this mic, Billy?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Hello, yes.
Hello, you can hear me. Good.
Check, correct.
Yeah.
You've achieved audibility. We okay?
Let him know we're doing the writing.
So, oh yeah, we're doing a writing challenge, Michael. So,
Sorry, I can't quite hear you.
Yeah, am I better now?
Yes, just speak more slowly, please.
Of course. So we are currently doing our writing challenge, and that will last for approximately 15 minutes or less.
Yeah.
And then we commence with reading.
But can you see me?
No, we can't.
Not yet.
Not yet. So I just relax, okay?
Just relax. So just 2 more minutes, okay? Just the final countdown. If you want to scribble your last couple of phonemes. So I'm going to open the mic now to the audience and indeed to the people who are joining us via Zoom. And feel free to come up and read your poem. And the winner of the challenge, as previously stated, but I'll state it again for latecomers, is the person who gets the loudest, the most profound silence generated from the audience. Unfortunately, I am in charge of generating the judging apparatus for that. But I promise to be unbiased in my outlook. So feel free to take the stage as you wish. Good man.
So this poem is called Snow. A crystal of snow whispers the growth of the cold, tender as bread in the night of the glaciers. A sleigh taken silently by tenacious huskies, noble cousins of the wolves. Viscous is the blood of an unfortunate prey. Life sometimes plays drums of a tragic ballet, black and red on a maple leaf. Thank you.
Our next entrant will be Pam, who's coming to us from Zoom. And then we'll go back to the room.
Thank you. This will keep me safe. Otherwise, I'd be reading while I drive. Here we go. Didgeridoo drones, trees creak and wings flap. A viscous growth bred snowfall as sleigh runners cut a new dream time. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah. Hello. Cook. Come what may, drum what some say, as we sleigh into Cork, followed by an unfamiliar walk down some street. Winthorpe, Winthrop, Windsor, definitely not Windsor, because the king don't sing here. He's still mourning mammy nestled in a soft bready breast of the consort, some sort of shop bought jambon mixed with whiskers, every large burp off my Christmas wish list. My head viscous, which willing wordsmiths might balm with some second-hand charm, make something, make the most, miss, hit the post, go for greatness, settle for growth.
So we're staying in the room, so if somebody else wants to come up, Cedric. Cheers, man. Good to see you. See you too.
Old legends die someday, or maybe they retire. Answer no call. They have handled the job, it's theirs no more. Hand over to the youth the burden of duty. There is no better tool for growth than gravitas. Some believe that for the talented Icarus, there is no better teacher than gravity. The survivors will rise again with a harder core. The viscous wax off their shoulders, suit ties have melted. They are ready to earn the bread from note. They can't feed the drones. There is a job to be done. The sleigh and reindeers are gone. It's only one night per year, but that's one that gets you worked to the bone.
So we'll go back to a Zoom now, and we'll have Massimo.
He's muted. Can you turn it?
How do I do that?
Joe, continue.
Oh yeah, can you hear me there? Yeah, Massimo, you're muted, man. We can't hear you.
So sorry for the technical difficulties. Thank you for your patience. So the five.
You are
Can you hear me
forgiven.
now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Do you want to take it from the top?
Yes.
Please.
So the humming of my nervous system could be a strain of the same vibration that is still oscillating from the thunderclap of creation. If a big bang drawn out over an eternity might sound more like a subtle drone when stretched over time. How does one begin with only space and only light, and then end up with colors and flesh and bone? What was contained in the first seed that could even make the growth of life possible with all its strange order and wild variation? What is that material that gives the earth its muskiness and our flesh its viscousness? Jesus once said, if the flesh comes from the spirit, it is a wonder. But if the spirit comes from the flesh, then it is a wonder of wonders. If these questions are too deep for even someone like Jesus to give a straight answer to, then I will take that as my cue to stop living my life as though it were a cross to bear, and instead try to experience it as a sleigh ride to enjoy. Both approaches can still be true to the Christmas spirit, because like Oscar Wilde said, love is a greater mystery than death. Thank y'all so much.
So back to the room, please. If anybody wants to step forward now, please.
I don't know where what this is about, but sure. Hypercapitalism. We imbibe sacks of gelatinous bread from a plastic chute that delivers inconsistent to keep us on our toes. God has gone into a retirement home, sits alongside Santa, who drones on about the good old days, the sleigh. Opposite are Zeus, Iphigenia, and all of the old gods. When they quarrel, there's lightning rods and fire in the mint room. The nurses calm them down wearing iron and rubber suits. From mica melted into viscous liquid, nobody has eyebrows.
Any more takers? Shauna.
Things will be different this year, the official statement began. Children ran screaming to weary mothers' arms as the global announcement loomed heavy on the public. Due to the exponential growth of temperatures on the North Pole, Santa awoke last week to find his reindeers turned to viscous. Rudolph melted into a gelatinous mess of antlers and red nose. Dasher, Prancer, and Vixen, God knows how they felt as they melted. What's left of them wouldn't fit in a bread roll. Saint Nick blames himself, the old fool. Having elves produce so much single-use plastic surely contributed. So we regret to inform you, children, boys and girls, Santa is too beside himself to sleigh down chimneys. So this Christmas, gifts will be delivered via drones.
The drones cannot be seen. The bread is no longer bread. It is blue powder. Something has melted to an orange blackness, perhaps an apple, sticky and viscous like our thoughts. Outside, there is growth. Someone will take the sleigh. We draw loss. The drones cannot be seen, but we know they're there.
We're going to go back to the electronically mediated people, and Spongo.
Oh yeah. Greetings, everyone. I think I made a mistake. Instead of viscous, I read the word as vicious. That's my problem, but I'm gonna read it. This is titled "The Time That Never Was." Like vultures, they circled the red sunset sky. The sleigh now a myth, Santa a living being. The drones whizzed above chimneys, delivering tomorrow's bread. Gone were the days of vicious thunder rolls in the bellies of 5-year-olds. Natural growth fueled by love had taken over, and we became, because everyone is. No one individual holding more than they require. Then I stopped writing. Poem.
So we'll keep it Zoom for a moment, and we will have Matt Mooney, please.
Sleigh ride, until I saw you standing there, motionless. My mood was viscous. Mindfulness bogged down by lack of growth within my psyche's sights. Shortness of vision. Such a stubborn way to be. Clean out of happiness and the joy of life. Our bread and butter. You were inert on a country roadside, face to the sun, soaking in the stray heat of a winter's day, straight to your soul. And I took courage from you as I saw you, and as you greeted me with, I am taking a sunbath. My spirits suddenly soared on board a drone to float where you are now, somewhere above, somewhere alone, happy on a sleigh ride of your own.
Thanks, Matt. We'll throw it back to the room then and see is there any other brave souls willing to walk up to the goal mouth.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren. Happy Christmas. That's my part. I'll get started now. Oh dear. She shrugs with one shoulder, effortless as a star falling into the ocean. Her fire engine lips take a sip from her glass, while an alarm drones ho 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 like a background track to this movie that isn't our lives. She was talking about growth, how she wasn't trying, how she was trying, but he wasn't. How his words dripped like a viscous sauce, slathering what she thought they had with a clotted sour cream as thick as bread. How the gap between their backs and bed was a minefield of what the therapist said. How the more he tried to win, the less she cared. Her French manicure tapped the glossy table while she calls for the waiter with a raised finger. Outside, a homeless man in a red sweater, wearing a battered elastic beard, whips the pretend reins of an invisible sleigh and screams. Thank you.
We're going to have Mags now coming in from Zoom, please.
Okay. Achachon a drone, circling over the back retaining wall here at home, emergent from the undergrowth, unannounced, mechanical buzzing and brazen, seeking out the vulnerable, the alone. Snapping as it swoops, dropping life images back to Mother House. A trail of cash hansels, gifts of breadcrumbs, retracing tracks to you. The brazen strut of the pilot, brass neck of a little jockey, flanked by flunkies at head office, the yay sayers, any means will do. Once we dreamt when we looked at the skies of sleighs and moonmen, sticking little craning necks upwards, searching the clouds with child's eyes. Now shake a fist, demand its retreat, and hand over the footage. Stick your neck up now for honor. New age consent, your privacy the prize, the sky viscous with satellites and drones, dripping with prying eyes.
Good man.
Hi everyone, I'm Cyril. Pate. In the trolls of time, led from the hill a soft thought, for a creature that disputes growth and bakes a viscous bread, a breath, a bread of those that slay and slew the drone of silent nights amidst the snow.
No.
Yeah, I'm using the mics. I'm more worried about this. Yeah, I'm the only guy who gets sunburn in this weather. Anyway, okay, this is called a tuning out. The siren drones, an alarming ululation for inspiration in an imperfect two-tone fourth glissando sleigh ride through repeating, undulating, freezing fog tinnitus viscous in my ear, treacling my thoughts,
sticking them like a tongue to a winter lamppost. And then the squeal stills. An abrupt cessation of silence that blooms as rising bread in a softness of surcease, where imaginings can finally be sown in the tap of fingertips against glassy ground, or the soft hoe scratches of tool against yielding papery plough lines. In the head-bowed labour, the conditions may be right to tune into the whispering silence and hear the murmurs of growth stirring out of the scrunching day. Just jump up there.
I'm having fun with the mic. I think this might be called subnabulant. This siren that you left me hang on, the subnabulant sleigh skimming unwarranted skies. High on what, or that your droning growth you owned sick like a thick fistula needing filling with sterile gauze, and your laugh haphazard and viscous, your coagulated self, and the bread we fed dying birds.
Hello. Listen. Are you listening? The silence. Cold, deafening. Bones groan and drone and creak. His red breast staining the frosted tips of the half-dead lawn there under the ash tree. Viscous. His little body still. Breadcrumb wreaths, untouched, leading home. Bluebells should spring there soon, maybe. Growth and warmth, a distant, causeless memory. Sleigh bells ring. Listen.
I'm kind of getting an end of reading energy. Maybe there's one or two people left, is there? Okay, Dinah Vaughan, Bart, yeah, come up. Can you get your name, actually?
Cal.
Almost. You held me in reverse, dragged backwards through snow-blind fields, sleigh lashed to matted pack dogs. But I am the body retrieved, dead save this space on your back, where the heart's blood pools, a vicious growth blooms. Sorry, on the space on your back, a vicious growth blooms, where the heart blood pools, viscous nib smears the past into a run-on sentence or a red-penned correction. Mix me with soft powder, make bread from wounds to shove, fistful by torn fistful, down clamoring mouths that drone sick harmony of empty hunger. Thank you.
Squeeze it in. I also have a dark holiday theme poem, I guess.
You never feel more alone than scared on your own at an MRI. I'm not prepared to die, and for some reason I thought the interior would have more chrome. This infernal machine, it whirs and clicks and drones. What will it find? A vicious growth? Years of viscous tar coating my lungs don't give me much hope. It's December now, so I'll probably make it through these holidays, I think, in a daze. But will this be my last chance to break bread with my loved ones or take sleigh rides with my long-lost cousins? Maybe so, I concede. So I know I must go make merry, very, very merry indeed.
Happy Christmas, everybody. I love this time of the year, last Ovale of 2022. So I've dressed in red, and I'm very glad I got here because the roads were treacherous in West Cork, but I got here. Oh, hello to my Zoom buddies with camera. Hi.
Did you get a spin up?
What?
Did you get a spin up?
I did get a spin off, of course. It's Christmas, man. So this is called Proposal. One snowy evening at 3:15, there was very loud knocking on my front door. Santa says, "Let's go for a sleigh ride." Much too cold, Santa. Let's go inside. He had sacks of goodies and tricks galore. He laid them all out on my living room floor. Viscous treats never seen before. Focaccia and sourdough, very exotic bread. They rose and rose to the oven in my head. There were chocolates, flowers, and very fine wine. We had ourselves a very good time. Mrs. Claus and myself have divorced, you know, so there's no reason why we should not go. But Santa, baby, I don't like reindeers and I don't like snow. So he sent the drones home. We settled in for the night, snuggled up tight. I stroked his plush red velveteen, and he showed me his nipple piercing, very seldom seen. Look, he said, we should not tarry. I think it is time to marry. Now, Mr. Red, I've taken an oath. I have seen your fantastic growth. But Santa, I cannot be steered. I cannot marry you, my dear, because you only come just once a year.
It seems like. So it's a cruel game. The 5-word challenge, because only one person can be messy, sliding the ball gracefully into the back of the net. Everyone else has got to be Harry Kane, sliding it somewhat over the net. And sorry, my friend. And this particular encounter was all but inseparable in terms of in terms of audience reaction, you could say it went to a penalty shootout. So close was it. Right down to the last peal of laughter or combination of Pam's or stomping of foot in ecstasy. I think, like, for a long time, this gentleman, I don't know your name actually. No, I think, cheers, man. I think you were really in the lead for a long time, fending off a fantastic challenge from some other competitors, such as SLL, Jim, and others. But unfortunately for you, I think the last competitor stole the show in terms of audience reaction. Catherine, congratulations.
No, we're too.
You won the 5-word challenge, the last 5-word challenge of the year. The spoils of victory await, which is this collection of actually very nice collection of poetry pamphlets. But unfortunately, no silver lining comes without a cloud attached. And before you can claim these gifts, you will be called on to read your poem again. Okay.
Thanks, everyone. I'm delighted. It's like winning the Golden Globes or the Oscars, you know, the Oscars. Proposal. One snowy evening at 3:15, there was a very loud knocking on my front door.
Put it like what I do.
Okay, I'll just mute it in there. Start again, Catherine.
Proposal. One snowy evening at 3:15, there was a very loud knocking on my front door. Santa says, let's go for a sleigh ride. Much too cold, Santa. Let's go inside. He had sacks of goodies and tricks galore. He laid them all out on my living room floor. Viscous treats never seen before. Focaccia and sourdough, very exotic bread. Yeast kept rising to the oven in my head. There were chocolates, flowers, and very fine wine. We had ourselves a very good time. Mrs. Claus and myself have divorced, you know, so there is no reason we should not go. But Santa baby, I don't like reindeers and I don't like snow. So he sent the drones home. We settled in for the night, snuggled up tight. I stroked his plush red velveteen, and he showed me his nipple piercing, very seldom seen. Look, he said, we should not tarry. I think it's time to marry. Now, Mr. Red, I take an oath. I have seen your fantastic growth. But Santa, I cannot be steered. I cannot marry you, my dear, because you only come just once a year.
Congratulations. So we'll press on with the next section of the evening. I'll just read out the announcements first. So Ovale aims to maintain a safe space for writers and attendees and subscribes to the Arts Council's Equality, Diversity and Inclusion policy. We ask participants to remain respectful in communicating, especially those of you, Catherine, because you're putting limits there. And to report any offensive behavior, it's too late. The 10 5 Words International Poetry Competition continues apace. The words for this week are renew, 5, suit, S-U-I-T, between, and Cork. This event is recorded and will be available to revisit as an MP3 podcast and on video on Vimeo. It's not on YouTube. Our first fortnight festival event, which is the first fortnight of next year, is on Monday the 9th of January, and the guests are Luke Morgan and Molly Toomey, two fine poets. Let's come along. Thank you to everyone who has kindly offered donations. There's a donations jar physically here under the horse's head, and PayPal donations can also be made, and that's available on the live poetry stage on the website. Okay, that's all the announcements. Right, thanks very much. I really feel there was quite a burden of announcing there, and I think I deserve a round of applause for that. So now we turn to the most important portion of the evening, and that's our guest poet, Michael Longley, who is coming to us via Zoom tonight from Belfast, I assume. So Michael Longley is perhaps a poet for all seasons, but for many of us, he in large snow geese skirting the horizon, telling of crimson cranberry fields, a poet of snow water that when melted might be used by a connoisseur of tea to make such blends as clear distance or the eyebrows of knowledge or the eyebrows of perception. A poet of cloudberries sweetened slowly in the cold of Lapland, quarreled over in cloudberry wars. A poet of snow-flecked lumps of coal. He's a poet who's presided over a half century and some dozen collections of poems and countless honors. He has presided and become a presiding spirit of Irish letters, from his first published poems when he was still a student in Trinity College, Dublin, to his recent receipt of the Feltrinelli Prize from the Lycenian Academy of Italy, if you believe, which among its founding members was actually Galileo, no less. And that's only awarded every 5 years. And Mr. Longley received it in recognition of his unique contribution to Europe's literary culture. He's a poet, I believe, who will not be overly discombobulated joining us through the electronic medium of Zoom tonight, because he wrote in 1999 about how he liked to write by the glow and hum of a Macintosh computer. He's a poet who inhabits many, many landscapes, imagined, real, and semi-imagined, from his own home place of Belfast, which he has rendered in its joys and tribulations with such bracing humanity over many years, to the townlands of Mayo, which he has also rendered in granular detail its bird life and animal life, to the Ilium of Priam and Hector and Achilles, to which he has returned again and again and again. Other places too, Japan, Italy, Shetland and Finland. But we welcome him here, the signal traveling across the country like a flock of snow geese. And we welcome him here to Cork on this cold December night. So make it lovely.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. Thank you for inviting me to your festival, and I've enjoyed listening to several souls expressing themselves in words and in rhythm, and it's a pity I can't be in Cork, a city I'm fond of, but here I am, the next best thing, in Zoom, which seems to me tremendous. I'm Stone Age, technically, and my wife is standing nearby in case I press the wrong button. But, and I'm going to read, I think you asked me for about half an hour. So I've enjoyed the brevity of most of the poems that have been read. So I hope you'll bear with me for half an hour. I thought I would read some old poems from my youth, and then read from my new book. So the first poem, looking out the window at the snow and the frost, this seems a good enough one to begin with. I wrote it in 1965, a long time ago, when I was about 24, and it's called Persephone. Now, Persephone ate the seed of the forbidden pomegranate, and her punishment was to be confined underground for 6 months, and then the other 6 months she would come up among us again. So in a way, it's a mythological explanation of summer and winter. Persephone. I see, as through a skylight in my brain, the mole strew its buildings in the rain. The swallows turn above their broken home, and all my acres in delirium. Straight-jacketed by cold and numb-skulled, now sleep the well-adjusted and the skilled. The bat folds its wing like a winter leaf. The squirrel in its hollow holds aloof. The weasel and ferret, the stoat and fox, move hand in glove across the equinox. I can tell how softly their footsteps go. Their footsteps borrow silence from the snow. And another poem from my youth, a love poem. And this was something I watched when I was sitting on the bank of the canal in Dublin, the Grand Canal, and two swans came and proceeded to mate in front of me very obligingly. And here's my poem about them. It has two beautiful English words, cob, the male swan, and pem, the female swan. Swans mating. Even now, I wish that you had been there, sitting beside me on the riverbank, the cob and his pen sailing in rhythm until their small heads met and the final heraldic moment dissolved in ripples. This was a marriage and a baptism, a holding of breath, nearly a drowning. Wings spread wide for balance where he trod, her feathers full of water, and her neck under the water like a bar of light. Now, I've said somewhere that I believe that at the center of the poetic enterprise is love poetry, and that if poetry is a wheel, the hub of the wheel is love poetry, and branching out from it, the hub, like spokes, are love of children, love of nature, love of land, love of everything else. And here's a poem. It's 6 quatrains, it's 24 lines long, and its central resolving image is the bleach green. This poem is called The Linen Industry, and in the olden days they used to lay out the material when it had been woven in a bleach green to bleach in the sun, so that at the height of summer it would appear that there'd been a fall of snow. The linen industry. Pulling up flax after the blue flowers have fallen, and laying our handfuls in the peaty water to rot those grasses to the bone, or building stooks that recall the skirts of an invisible dancer. We become a part of the linen industry and follow its processes to the grubby town, where fields are compacted into window boxes and there is little room among the big machines. But even in our attic under the skylight, we make love on a bleach green, the whole meadow draped with material turning white in the sun, as though snow reluctant to melt were our attire. What's passion but a battering of stubborn stalks, then a gentle combing out of fibres like hair, and a weaving of these into christening robes, into garments for a marriage or funeral. Since it's like a bereavement once the labour's done, to find ourselves last workers in a dying trade. Let flax be our matchmaker, our undertaker, the provider of sheets for whatever the bed. And be shy of your breasts in the presence of death. Say that you look more beautiful in linen, wearing white petticoats, the bow on your bodice, a butterfly attending the embroidered flowers. And a poem, this is probably my best known poem in August, I think it was 1994, there were talks that there'd be an IRA ceasefire. I was reading the Iliad, our greatest poem about war and death. I was reading the episode where the old king of Troy, Priam, is very brave. He plucks up courage and he wanders out to the tent of Achilles to beg from Achilles the body of his son Hector, whom Achilles has killed in combat. Ceasefire. Put in mind of his own father and moved to tears, Achilles took him by the hand and pushed the old king gently away. But Priam curled up at his feet and wept with him until their sadness filled the building. Taking Hector's corpse into his own hands, Achilles made sure it was washed and, for the old king's sake, laid out in uniform, ready for Priam to carry, wrapped like a present, home to Troy at daybreak. When they had eaten together, it pleased them both to stare at each other's beauty as lovers might. Achilles built like a god, Priam good-looking still and full of conversation, who earlier had sighed, I get down on my knees and do what must be done, and kiss Achilles' hand, the killer of my son. And when you've been at it as long as I have, but God knows I've been writing poetry for 60 years, you're entitled to have a favorite poem. And I'm going to read my favorite poem of mine. It's called Harmonica. And I remember when I was a schoolboy, I brought home a mouth organ, a harmonica. And my dad, I'd never heard him play anything before. He picked it up and he played it quite well. And he was telling me that he served in the trenches of the First World War. And during lulls, he and others taught themselves the harmonica, and they improvised little marching bands. And I wanted for some years to write about this, but I couldn't find the way to do it. And then I don't know, it was a lucky chance. I was reading a book about the early Greek philosophers, and Anaximenes believed that air was the basis of all creation, and he breathed life into this poem. It's only 7 lines long, but it's still my favorite. Harmonica. A Tommy drops his harmonica in no man's land. My dad, like old Anaximenes, breathes in and out through the holes and reeds and finds this melody. Our souls are air. They hold us together. Listen. A music hall favorite lasts until the end of time. My dad is playing it. His breath contains the world. The wind is playing an orchestra of harmonicas. And a poem. The last 12, 15 years, my grandchildren have featured Lord. I've written a lot of poems about them. And it occurred to me that there aren't that many poems about grandchildren. And that's probably because most poets don't live long enough to have grandchildren. But here's one about my first grandson called Ben. And he arrived in the Corrigskiwon cottage when there'd been a cloudburst. The landscape was flooded. The little river Owen or Dunon was in spate. And the only way he could get up with his father was in Paddy Morrison's tractor, a neighbour's tractor. And I wrote this poem about his first arrival in Corrigskiwon, the townland we go to every year in Mayo, the Leverett, for my grandson Ben. This is your first night in Corrigskiwon. The Owen or Dunon is so full of rain, you arrived in Paddy Morrison's tractor, a bumpy approach in your father's arms to the cottage where, all of 1 year ago, you were conceived, a fire seed in the hearth. Did you hear the wind in the fluffy chimney? Do you hear the wind tonight and the rain and a shorebird calling from the mussel reefs? Tomorrow, I'll introduce you to the sea, little hoplite. Have you been missing it? I'll park your chariot by the Otter's Rock and carry you over seaweed to the sea. There's a tufted duck on David's Lake with her suit full of hatchlings, pom-poms a day old and already learning to dive. We may meet the stoat near the erratic boulder, a shrew in his mouth, or the merlin meadow pipit hunting. But don't be afraid. The Leverett breakfasts under the fuchsia every morning, and we shall be watching. I have picked wild flowers for you, scabious and centaury, in a jam jar of water that will bend and magnify the daylight. This is your first night in Corrigskiwon. And I'll now read from the new book, which I hold up, available in all good bookshops. Its title comes from a genius line of Dylan Thomas: for the sake of the souls of the slain birds sailing. The book's called The Slain Birds. And I'll stay with my grandson Ben, because when he was about 9 or 10 years later, after the Leverett poem, I took him out botanizing, and I remember showing him this modest little flower called sneezewort, and he drew it and he wrote the name, and I wrote this poem about it. Sneezewort. Now that the virus keeps us apart, I try to remember exactly where I introduced my first grandson years ago to this unassuming supposed cure for cough and cold. And he drew a picture of it above spindly letters, Sneezewort. Petals arranged like a daisy's around a grey and yellow eye that might irradiate sickness. Was it where a runnel murmurs into the lake without a name? And this one, the first poem in the new book, it's called Tony Owl. And my granddaughters, Amelia and Maisie, found this on their way back from school, a Tony Owl that had been killed by a car. And they buried it. And I mentioned a couple of words that maybe need an explanation. Smudging is a purifying ceremony. And I refer to a great ornithological photographer, Eric Hosking, who lost his eye photographing a tawny owl. So this is a kind of a sonnet. Tawny owl. At least the motorist who stunned the owl stopped and lifted the body onto the verge. And there Amelia and Maisie found it. A friend will soak the wings in salty water to make shaman fans for smudging rites. Another wants the skull for her collection and will have to bury it for 1 whole year. Why are there no tawny owls in Ireland? Do you know that Eric Hosking photograph of the tawny that robbed him of an eye? Rage and terror cramped between the branches. Maisie sketches in charcoal its underside. Amelia hugs to herself all the feathers. I will look after you, poor owl, she sighs. And here's a poem inspired by Amelia when she was 7, made out of fuse wire and a skewer, a barbecue skewer, a model and buttons, a model of the solar system, Amelia's model. In her model of the solar system, my 7-year-old cosmologist ties to a barbecue skewer with fuse wire the planets' buttons. For Venus, an ivory button, Mercury silver beside the sun, mother of pearl for Jupiter, red and green for Mars and Earth. For Saturn's rings, a pipe cleaner, so that in the outer darkness close to the kitchen, her brown eyes represent Uranus, Neptune. Amelia, you didn't include Pluto in your wire sculpture of the solar system. Tiny and very far away, an ice world of ice mountains and methane snow, a dance of 5 moons unlit by the sun, the god of the afterlife's kingdom. We shall go there when we die, dear child. And I discovered, much to my delight, in the back garden here, a flower that looked a little bit like lily of the valley, but it was in fact Solomon's seal. And in this poem, I quote Solomon from the Old Testament. And I think that's all I need to say about it. But it's another kind of sonnet called Solomon's Seal. Shaded by the self-seeded, I'll begin again. I'll take a glass of water, if I may. Not a glass, a sip of a glass of water. Solomon's Seal. Shaded by the self-seeded hazels, in a back corner of our garden, to the right of the flowering currant, an unexpected Solomon's Seal I want to show you. Does it matter why such graceful bells are so called? Seals of a medieval document. It's May, and Solomon says, "Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away. Winter is past. The rain is over and gone. Flowers appear on the earth." A solitary cowslip has survived under our beech, the first grass cutting. The time of the singing of birds is come. And my penultimate poem is called Totem. One of the reasons we moved into this house was the great beech tree in the back garden. It's about nearly 300 years old. But I had to get a tree surgeon in to lower it a bit because it was threatening neighbors' houses. And then I imagined, when the branches had been cut up into logs, I imagined those logs being built into a totem pole with carvings of all the animals that I've, or some of the animals that I've written about obsessively in my long career. And this is another 14-liner, Totem. When the tree surgeon cut away from our top-heavy beech a ton, I assembled in my mind's eye logs as a star-surrounded totem pole with carvings of all the creatures: concussed tawny owl, sleepy pot-bellied badger, otter drowned in the eel trap, Rosemary's donkeys, Emma's punchhole frogs, hares and stoats playing scary games around the erratic boulder. Oh, all in a ghost dance with my twin brother and the dead poets and my warrior father and my mother with her limp. And I'll close with a poem from the book before that, which was called The Candlelight Master. And it's called after Amergin. Now, most of you will know that Amergin was the legendary bard of the Ulster cycle. And he wrote what many people consider the first poem in Irish. And it goes something like, I am the wind, I am the sea, I am a wave, I am the spindrift on the wave, I am this, I am that. And this is my refraction or reflection of that. I use that formula. And first, thank you again for inviting me to read, and thank you for listening to my words. And this evening reminds me just how important it is to read poetry aloud, that poetry existed long before alphabets were invented. The Iliad and the Odyssey were recited by heart. It's hard to believe, but that's the case. So I've enjoyed reading to you and enjoyed listening to you read. After Amergin. I am the trout that vanishes between the stepping stones. I am the elver that lingers under the little bridge. I am the leveret that breakfasts close to the fuchsia hedge. I am the stoat that dances around the erratic boulder. I am the skein of sheep's wool, wind and barbed wire tangle. I am the mud and spittle that make the swallow's nest. I am the stone chat's music of pebble striking pebble. I am the overhead raven with his eye on the lamb's eye. I am the night flying whimbrel that whistles down the chimney. I am the pipistrelle bat at home among constellations. I am the raindrop enclosing fairy flax or brookweed. I am water lily blossom and autumn lady's tresses. I am the thunderstorm that penetrates the keyhole. I am the sooty hailstone melting by the fireside. I am the otter's holt and the badger's set in the dunes. I am the badger drowning at springtide among flotsam. I am the otter dying on top of the burial mound. Thank you. Did I go on long enough?
Thank you so much, Michael, for taking us on such a wonderful journey. Your early work to your most recent, it was a thrilling and exceptionally moving way to close the year, and looking forward to more poems coming from your pen 23. Thanks again. So we will now take a short break, and then you can chat among yourselves or whatever. And then I pass around the list for the open mic. He's very thankful.
There's Greg Delante. Should I say hello?
Hi, Michael.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
Great to see you.
Yeah, you're looking handsome. You look more and more like Jesus.
Hey, come here.
I get more and more like Father Christmas. You get more and more like Jesus.
I prefer to be more like Father Christmas. Listen, hey, Amergin came into Ballinaskelligs. Don't mind you stealing that up in Northern Ireland.
Sorry? What you say?
Amergin, I'm joking with you now. Amergin came into Ballinaskelligs, into Beara Peninsula, around that area.
Oh, that's right.
And recited that poem, but that's a beautiful poem, though. But don't be stealing it from us.
Yeah. Where are you now?
I'm in Vermont, there, Michael.
Oh, you're across the Atlantic.
Yeah, I came last weekend, and all good, like, except that I have the old prostate thing, and have to get treated on Friday. But we'll see.
What are they going to do to it?
Not sure yet. Well, actually, that's not correct. I have to get, it is spreading, and they're going to have to do something, but they're not sure where it's spreading, and they have to do what they call a saturation biopsy on Friday, and then we know the treatment, but there will be treatment. I don't know. It's fine. I mean, it's common. Not so many.
Yes, I
But
know.
anyway, how are you? You look great. The reading as good as ever. Relaxed and beautiful.
Okay, except for what Yeats called bodily decrepitude, you know.
Will we see you next summer? I'd love to see you and the next summer.
Yeah, we'll see you next summer, and I'll be in touch. I'm now I haven't eaten. I have to have I'm diabetic. I have to go and eat now.
Love to you, Michael.
Yeah, love to you. Good to see your handsome face. Are you writing?
Oh yeah, I've about 5 books ready. I'm getting worse than I'm getting worse than what am I saying? I can't remember names. Sorry. The next book is called the Professor of Forgetting.
Oh, that's a good title.
I have that poem for you in it, but it's all
Oh,
revised.
good.
I look forward to seeing you, and the poems are marvelous, man. I hope. Are we just talking to each other, or are we?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, good. We're
I
not.
hear you.
We're not. How is Edna?
She's in this room with me. She's fine. She's working on the proofs of a big book of Edward Thomas's writings about poetry. It's a wonderful book. He was the #1 critic from about 1900 to the First World War, and then he was killed, as you know, at the Battle of Arras in 1917.
And he wrote the best review ever, or the best snap of Robert Frost. You know him.
Oh, that's right. Well, that was a very important. I think that's almost the most important friendship since Coleridge and Wordsworth.
Yeah, no, probably it is. I can't think of another one. It's beautiful.
Well, there's the First World War poets. They were friends, you know.
Yeah, but not for long.
No, I know. I know.
But for sure, yeah. I will put
Yeah.
on and see yourself soon. And
So, I mean, we're both busy, both writing away.
Yeah. Have you another book? I just got the debut book with the Dylan Thomas title.
Oh yeah, the Slain Birds.
Right.
No, I've got about a third of a new book.
Right. Oh, you're flying. So.
Yeah, writing away.
We're still sailing, like the slain birds are gone. Maybe, but we're still sailing.
Yeah, that's a brilliant word there at the end of that quotation. For the sake of the souls of the slain birds, sailing.
What a great poem as well, actually.
Yeah, that is a great poem. He's a great poet, I think.
Yeah, he is. And the reading of it, have you ever heard? You must have heard him reading it.
Oh, I know those. Yeah, I grew up on those records.
Yeah, I did too. We keep it to ourselves though, because they'll be looking for influences. But I still listen to them.
Yeah, I still, yeah.
They did a full recording that Billy Collins, for all the recordings. Do you have that? All the recordings. I mean, various recordings.
Yeah.
Everything. Have you got that?
No, I don't think so.
I'll get it for you and give you St. James a present.
Yeah.
Christmas. They'll send Santa a present.
Happy Christmas, Greg.
Happy Christmas, lovely.
And we'll be in touch.
Lovely, yeah.
Okay, great. Sweetheart.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to hear you.
You too. I'm gonna hope to get off this now.
Oh yeah. Just do that, all right.
to be fair, is extremely close to
I remember being in here during this year, right? It was so hot. It was almost something. Well, it was very hot. Like back in summer. It was a hot Monday, right? And you could never imagine the monster final of the
Who's doing the music now?
So, look over. Very minded program. Oh, yeah, it's quiet. You could never imagine then that it was cold.
That's very interesting.
And you could never imagine now like my Danish friends over. Well, we had Danish friends as well. Like our friends in Denmark, right? It becomes unbearable.
It's very panic. It's fair. Because he's a bit nuts, and also he has to kind of structure stuff. Sure, right? Because he's really talented guy. I used to ask around Spain at the moment, to be honest. He needed a break to
Tricks and my brother knows the brother like certain be consequences like that. I hate when that happens.
The old time American songs.
We know.
There's background music, I think. Sometimes people come in and they think it's like a game. Yeah. It depends on the show, like, whereas this stuff is very much. Like, I've been playing sometimes and someone's talking and someone says, shut up. I'm like, no, don't talk, we're in the fucking flow. That's all. It's not big,
She's like the queen, like. Sure, her husband's nothing, he's only done making sculptures and shit, like, he's like, sorry, I'm outside, okay, they're playing me. Yeah, no, that's if it wasn't, you couldn't give me 1 minute there, just right.
I know exactly what you mean. So we're getting it. Yeah, definitely happens. There's been a couple times where we've been playing and we kind of noticed. There's one time, one of the first times we played, like, we told our friends that we came. It's just like all the people looking over our shoulders. I turned around to hear voice. You're not supposed to pay attention. Don't chat. Yeah. Oh, it's coming in and out of it. But
like, it was good vibes,
class.
Like, so if you book something up here, that's all.
Let's go. Yeah. I didn't recognize you. Yeah, I can see it. I do now. Yeah. No worries. Great. No, it's nice to be coming in.
I'm missing Icky.
Yeah. It's not a word. For sure. I'm sure. A lot of great ones.
You're going to say Coleman the old open mic there?
I will, yeah.
Did you get your name onto the list?
I'll stick down the list there in a second. Just talk that's right. Still sure. Thanks, Rosie. But in the conversation with Andrew. Actually, guitar and bass as well, that part. It's a weird one, right? The balance between like, is this a session or is it a game? Because I've been at gigs as well where like very much the point is to pay attention and people are talking and
Oh, yeah. So these you can interpolate
after example.
And you make
It's great reading, no? You probably just dropped in for a chat today, I don't know, who knows? Stick away, mate, stick away. Oh, that's great. That's really awesome. Appreciate
True, I didn't know.
So, I have two people there. One in the room. Okay.
It's not going too easy.
Okay, I think I'm ready to start now. All right. Okay, well, let's. Apologies. Press on with the open mic now. Simmer down. The open mic in Zoom land, coming to us from Alexander.
Hello, Flying 13. My trembling personality, my galloping personality. Let my flaws in, let my virtues in. Battling, balancing between earthly and ideal behavior. Riding with warrior duties, flying with festive ceremonies. Ancestors and descendants transforming protogenic instinct and barbarity into cultured, refined nobleness. All personalities becoming one, following the smoke of Ithaca, wayfaring my own boat, ruins behind, dreams ahead, expectations blending with sirens' songs, punishments and rewards, repenting and enriching our voyage, crusading, descending and ascending, scarring and rejuvenating. My trembling mind, my galloping mind, let my fears in, let my visions in, battling, balancing between earthly and ideal reality, riding past fallen Troy, flying towards sacred temples, poetry and prophecies, transforming missions and experiences into immortal knowledge and treasures, all minds becoming one, unadorned words enchanting the fiery dragon of the golden fleece, angels and art all ablaze, burning down all molds, Prometheus gifting profound new templates and ideologies, lighting up matter and spirit, earth and sky. My trembling heart, my galloping heart, let my sorrows in, let my raptures in, battling, balancing between earthly and ideal love, riding through tempestuous waves, flying through moonlit water lilies, silver cocoons transforming hurt and trauma into soft silken chrysalids, all hearts becoming one, hovering above earth's spoons, embracing the altar of healing, mystical muses weaving threads of sweetness, of solace, resilient yarns guiding us through labyrinths of personal growth, initiating, elevating each journey of each relationship. My trembling soul, my galloping soul, let my sins in, let my blessings in, battling, balancing between earthly and ideal liberation, riding into dichotomized horizons, flying into cosmic rays, eternal divine laws transforming dark ancient forces into golden propulsion and pulsation, all souls becoming one, lighting my own path, a path unique to me, purgatory's sun, holding turmoiled memories, inflexible desires, escaped hopes, rising and setting in the azure of the sea, in the azure of the spirit, surging into eternity with full sails, all my efforts maturing. Our trembling civilizations, our galloping civilizations, let our tribulations in, let our exaltations in, battling, balancing between earthly and ideal humanity. Thank you and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you so much, Alexandra, to your contributions. And now we will continue with Roxanne, please.
Hi, good to see you again. It's not from me. The poetry festival 2-3 weeks ago in me burst into tears the Sunday evening because one of a great French poet who is called Christian Bobin passed away, and that broke my heart. And so I'm going to read something from him because he was a magician, and like I'm trying to read it as slowly as I can, and I have a translation for once, because it's just so powerful. So it's about love. On n'a pas parlé d'amour est sans réponse. Soit c'est n'est pas une sens de calme, un trait de peinture bleue sur les paupières, un frisson de sourire sur les lèvres. On ne répond pas à une évidence. On la regarde, on la contemple, on la partage silencieusement, de préférence. Translation is there has it is complicated. It's that it's not a great feeling of calmness, a touch of blue paint on the eyelids, a faint smile on the lips. An evidence that needs no answer. It is observed, it is gazed at, it is shared in silence. Silence. Rest in peace.
Thank you for that generous. Catherine, please.
Yeah, I'm not that tall. Tomorrow in Cork County Council, there is a new anthology being launched called A World. I'm invited, and because I can invite all my friends, they're all invited. 3 p.m. tomorrow in Cork County Chamber. Rebirth. Fragile snowdrops peep with hope, rigid snow in their face. Reeds rush to her nimble fingers. Oak offers her to drink. Very cows with red-tipped ears, passing over 2 thresholds. Mountain big veins of their rivers, limit laugh eternal. Ribbons are tied to sacred trees. Secrets revealed of love and hope. Crozier of green wish unfurls. Wolves are sent as white guides, home with a sip of dandelion milk, bucket full of springtide stars, asleep on windowsills. Light to dark, home to light, every spring rebirths.
So now we'll have a new visitor here tonight. Dermot. Last name withheld. Welcome.
Hello, how are you? So I'm not a poet actually, but this is something I read or I wrote last year, and to be honest, it was I wrote it the day I found out my neighbour died, and it was out the back of the house where I live in West Cork, and it was just outside the back of our house in West Cork. There's a stream that flows, and it only flows for a couple of months every year when it's raining. And I was thinking about the cycle of life and how things keep progressing, you know, regardless of who's there or who isn't there, you know. So it's called a stream. It's the stream. In its absence, rocks and dirts and swirling clouds of dust and spin, only a sea of ripening barley, in grass and tangular space you would soon occupy. Soft snakes whispering that liminal line among seasons. After winter's rumble and dash and growl, you became a trickle, a faint murmur, until just a memory, that ominous music too faded. Yet the days, they come and they go, soon as reaped what once was sowed. Thing moves so fast, evaporate like dew on the morning grass. The first trace of the ebb and flow is the choral lament. This life of ours continues and persists somehow, cursed by strife and trouble and bitterness. Those often banal but precious hours, we hear the first echo of your reappearance. Others are deaf to your melody always, absent to the sights and sounds and smells of the unfolding year. Them be no more thirst or the vibrant turn of silent falling leaves, or some seasons. So I listened to the stream on this autumn morning, roaring that old familiar sound. The harshest months approach, a season spent of pure limpel and surge. And I remember those words that the wheel always, like the waters return, the cycle is never complete. After 2 days of rain, is running on through, playing winter's grave tune for those of us lucky enough to hear it. There you go.
OTO? JJ? Kosovo? Well, it's 6 letters. I think. Okay, all right. So. And letter.
It's a ponga.
No, it's an OTO.
Right.
JF. Yeah. I read your draft as well. So to be fair, like that is broad. Makes a big dot.
I didn't think I too difficult, but okay. Sure, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll know my name one day. It's fine. A big void, essentially existential. The void, the abyss, fully aware that it exists. For some, it causes endless 1,000-yard stares amid. They're scared of this nothingness. Void the void, praised. Some are destroyed by the void, dancing a dance they can't resist. Some toy with the void and cut through all that white noise to write joy with the void, knowing they'll eventually rejoin the void. And they never stop. Do it all before becoming a drop in the ocean. And I could try to pretend that we don't all die in the end, but I say we smile with heads held high and toast the night sky, my friends.
on that uplifting note, we'll throw to Zoom and to Massimo if he's ready and there.
Hey, can you all hear me okay? Yes. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. All right. I liked how the feature poet talked about how the Odyssey and the Iliad were shared by heart or memory. So, memory, memory, memory. Mirror behind me that I hold ahead of me. Memory, memory, memory. If I should ever forget, please remember me. Memory, memory, memory. Better than anyone's reference will ever be. Better than any gift lent to me are the real memories I still have left in me. I could read a map that tells of the seas, but a map can't tell you how it felt in the breeze. I could paint flowers or tell you about trees, but only your nose knows the smell of their leaves. Words in a book on the birds and the bees can't sting you or sing a bird song's keys. Prayers I am taught to recite on my knees sound different when I cry in the dark. Help me, please. They may say life's a dream for the waking up, but my reality is too real to make it up. Even memories of deep pain, I save them up to prove you can't walk in my shoes or take my cup. Even all my mistakes are a sign that my life is truth and my flaws make it mine. Sometimes I wish I could change the design, but memory reminds me I am not a straight line. I know what it's like to be happy, to play hard, cry hard, and love madly, to do it up, do it well, then do badly, brush it off, rise again, and fall flatly. I know what it's like to be angry, feeling at odds with a world that can't stand me, but still I take the hand that it hands me and find I'm in awe by the grace that it grants me. I know what it's like to have beauty, adoring myself with the world looking through me, but before my reflection consumes me, I'm saved by my flaws like birthmarks to prove me. I know what it's like to be fragile, like feathers I ruffle, like glass cups I rattle, my flesh and my bones a most delicate castle, yet still as I ride them, I laugh in the saddle. Because somewhere inside me there's a world I remember. It feels like it's ancient, but its warmth is still tender. Sometimes I can tell it by the smells and the texture, the depth of its colors, help it all flood together. Because even my body has memory. So I try not to remember just mentally. I let my senses help remind me sensually that every touch I've ever felt is in me presently. Every person, every place leaves their impression like expressions on my face. Some things may fade, some things leave their trace. Some things are forgotten, but maybe nothing is erased. So memory, memory, memory. Mirror behind me that I hold ahead of me. Every step I ever took still connects to me. All of the faces I've seen, I reflect through me. So may those who love me, whom I love, please remember me. All right, peace and love. Thank you.
Joe, please.
This is my first night here. I'm a lot smaller than I thought I was. My first night here, and I'm really, really happy to be here. Big up Massimo, the legend, and my man in the back there that came here for the first night ever reading a poem and just fucking absolutely floored everyone. Sorry to do that. I'm not trying to be the MC. I'm just saying, like, this guy's a fucking legend. I'm from where the skies are green, the meats are rare, and the girls are cold because the belly's bare. The boys fighting all day long, even though they're run down right so wrong. It's where the mums are tired, the kids are bored. Street where my dad's bigger than yours. It's the elderly, is not worth a mention. They sit at home and hope that they don't outlive their pension. It's the land I love, the land I speak of, a land I never left, a land I recarve, and I'm ever so sorry. I don't mean to moan. I'm thinking of here and stinking of home. That wasn't a poem, by the way. That was just. I got you. No, I'm going to let you lot decide if that's all right. I've got one that's like about like that kind of stuff, being a bit poor and a bit shit and a bit whatever. And then I've got one about that's quite funny, and it's about working and being a bit poor and a bit shit. Which one do you want? One or two? I was inconclusive. So basically, I'm gonna start with. I was at a KP, a kitchen porter, for many years. I've had many jobs, but this was one of my favourites. I was washing pots. And bear with me 1 second while I find it in my book. In Leicester, we call a sandwich a sarnie. This is called sarnie son. Stewie was a sous chef, the boss's second in command. He lived a life of rolled up sleeves, had hands the size of pans. He'd shout to me, "More cutlery!" His name for me was youth. And when he addressed me as his best KP, I knew he was telling the truth. And he'd count the dockets one by one. He'd shout to the chefs, "Right, lads, check on 3 sirloin steaks, all rare, 1 bream, all chips, all sauce, all seasonal greens." And the night was long. Service smooth. We all cleaned down in a lighter mood. I said, "Stu, what kind of food are you?" My boding boss didn't even have to think before he bounded up to me and leant on my sink and said, "I'm a sarnie son. No buns, we only deal in cobs. No avocado bravado, no sunny side up snobs. No wavy gravy trails are left. These crusts, they'll put air on your chest, so munch until there's nothing left, because I'm a sarnie son. The rich lamb shank in red wine gravy. The sheep's much leaner as a baby. They'll quaff in 5-star food reviews, but I ain't one to pick and choose. Just crusty cheese on toast will do, because I'm a sarnie son. You see, calamari, or to me, you squid. And as soon as this fancy fish hits your mouth, it forces you to remortgage the house. But don't worry, mate. Chuck me on your plate. Only cost $1.38 because I'm a sarnie son. Just cheddar, bit of butter here and there, just great everywhere. There's one thing I can't camembert, and that's fancy pans and bain maries. Keep your cranberries out of, because I'm a sarnie son. Treat with greens and loads and risks on top. Beast doubles up as a great doorstop. So stop your drivel. You're just a nil. I'm a two-hander. Because I'm a sarnie son. And I'll be the best you met, but that will never last. Because with everything, I leave my heart on the pass. So bright and early tomorrow, yeah? Covers are through the roof. Great work today. You're a sarnie son to you.
Pops up. We'll go back to Zoom there now. Mags, if you're ready. Is she there?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Granted. Much I take for granted, waking in the morn, pungent sip of coffee at the edge of dawn, orchid pink adorning clouds, sunrise past Ben Bulben's brow, as darkness sheds its cloak and bows, but to return it vows. Feet that land from out warm bed,
earth to ground, roof overhead, senses keen to guide me, tender touch, loving glance, septic stare, cutting glare, sarcastic comment, unruly hair, offered, shared, received, working bladder to relieve, hand to hold, hand held, pure gold. Sounds of laughter, shriek or song, connection, friendship, to belong. Cloud burst, lashing, teeming, rain, spilling tears, releasing pain, crushing, breaking, aching hearts, grief, love on passing paths, nature's passage weaving fabric, spider web, rainbow magic, entranced by dance of crackling flames, ancient wisdom knows no shame, inviting us to wake from sleep. With courage, take the fateful leap as moonlit shadows creep ghostly cross the misty hill. With conscious breath, begin.
Thanks. So back to the physical people. Jim.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Montrez-moi parler quelques victimes. Bon, quelques victimes. Alors, il y a un mois que j'ai décidé de prendre le français et naturellement, j'ai préparé un poème en français. En avance, cette poème est un peu sale. Le terme mignon, which means cute little penis. Tu es prêt? Oui. Quel tube mignon, doux comme un oiseau. Je veux te tenir dans ma main et embrasser ta petite tête. Le tube solide bien de temps et tu restais grand air. Comme un homme et porte ton être à la guerre. Do you want it in English? Je peux pas. Okay, cute little penis, soft as a small bird. I want to hold you in my hand and your little head. lonely beings all away from the world. It's time for you to bring your hard helmet. Your run through the jungle.
Surely we've heard one of the great and English languages in one night. Who could next? Lauren.
Thanks, Jim. Great. So this is probably the only half decent love poem I've ever written, and it's about my dog, so I don't know what that says about me, but yeah. Taxidermy heart. When my dog dies, I will cut beneath his chin and draw down to him. I will reach in, pluck out his heart to cradle in my cupped hands, the same way I held his whole body to my chest the day we met. I will strip his muscles, kiss each fibrous strand that set him. I will use a macro lens, bright blue, the other chestnut moon. I will thoroughly, removing every speck of meat and fat that gave him warmth. I will turn his lids, his lips, his ears, absorb his last drops of blood with a towel. I will apply a coat of canning salt on his hide laid flat, wet side. As I rub the salt in circles, roll his skin, hang it, dry it, tan it, stretch it, hold it to my heart and howl with it. I will drape it on a cushioned mannequin. I will pin it tight to his new body and lock stitch an invisible seam with fur. Trim his mane and tail, set his eyes, and then I will curl him like a sleeping fox and settle him on his bed, living room open in a slit, one ear half cocked as if he has woken up just enough to notice me and now will go back to sleep.
Zoom. Matt.
Yeah. Ready to go with it? Home for Christmas. Okay. Home for Christmas. An old one. In a country kitchen on that Christmas day, heavy condensation on the window pane. Hearing the sudden click of the small gate, someone saw him come and said his name. His mother, overseeing steaming saucepans on the White Stanley Range or engine room, looks out in hope, and then she sees her son, firmly striding in the sloping path to home. Her heart fills up with joy so warm and full, feeling that a wave from some distant ocean is sweeping her on to let him in, to greet him, and to tearfully embrace the unexpected one. Smelling roasting goose, he drinks hot soup, talking farming talk, united with his father. Slowly, he melts into the man he was before he took the boat to England with his brother. He was glad he had made the journey west, like the wise men from the east had done. Belonging here, he felt it even in his bones on a Christmas day. It is great to be home. Thank you.
Happy Christmas, Matt.
Thank you, and you.
And we'll push on with Roisin.
And nice. Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at it like there's such a lovely mix of work tonight. Isn't it lovely gathering and to everyone, and Billy, Rosie, and everyone for this evening, and everyone here. This thing. It's more work, this piece, and I shouldn't probably be reading it, although I'm drawn on. If there's any tips or hints, then tell me. I'm burdened by guilt on the road because in the and on the roads there's a lot of dead animals, very unusual for them, is there ever, and they're just crossing, you know, where to cross. And then I'm taken with islanders as well, and how they're displaced somewhat or apart from us, or what is the what's the connection by the connection between the animals that don't know where and the islanders. Don't ask me why, but this hey, this is called the Night Sweepers. The Night Sweepers. Before dawn from another day gather, they bow their heads and sweep up among debris of tired shavings and lonely. Am I too close, maybe? Oh, yeah. Cool. Matt's a legend.
No, I think you're okay now.
Testing 1, 2, 2, 2. That's better, isn't it? Yeah. Among the debris of tire shavings and lonely hubcaps, the dead can be found. The tale of a son, once a cushion for newborn whiskers, or the piece of a crow still that looks like a wing. For one, a tip of a finger of tree caps is enough to lift the stretchers made of ash and muslin, while their brush bristles, strong as badger's hair, dip heavy from the loop of salty bell. Odd scatterings, maybe a toddler's ankle sock, the shape of a pygmy shrew, or a dull scarf, a queen bee's fallen. For those still apply honeycomb blinkers to their eyes and bandages made of kelp. And as the morning bleed traffic lights, nurses question their lantern eyes as they where the dying remember the taste of snow. Knotted throats, the night murmur as they lay to Turks dressed with elderflowers. In their eyes, they remove their once more as the sea.
Isaac, if you're ready, we'll go back to Zoom.
Yeah, thank you. And dear editor, and thank you all my friends and Matt Mooney. I'm as a Cohen, I'm from Israel. As a Cohen, how much love there is in your eyes. It takes us to paradise. And, second, as a Cohen, the dream. Oh, Princess of Philippines, how marvelous was your smile when I came to visit you in your palace. The pianist played ancient music and we danced together. We rolled and rolled, and the dream not at all. And one, yeah, one. The third is the last. As a coin. Love encourage me. The answer, yes, for my darling. Encourage my soul, and I was the scorer of the football game. Oh God, please return my soul to the marvelous minutes in paradise. Thank you, Heidekon, Israel.
We go to Cork joining us.
Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Can you hear me? Am I on now?
Yeah.
Somebody, I can't hear you there, you see. Yeah, we can hear you. You're up, Greg, so I must be, can you hear me? Someone shake their head or? No, I'm sorry, I getting no, I can hear nothing from your side. You're up, Greg, we can hear you. Okay, good man, sorry. Thank you, lovely to be here, above one of my old locals. I was hoping, and I forgot, Paul. Well, I didn't forget. I just didn't have time to let Dan Johnson know that about Michael Longley on tonight and you all. So, I will let him know, and he'll be disappointed. But anyway, I'm just going to read the title poem from from it's 2 books next year, but from the real one, called The Professor of Forgetting. There's a mention of the Eagle Printing Company, which is where my father worked, and it was just around the corner there from. It's on the Parnell Square end of the Long Valley of Oliver Runkel Street. On the right, it actually owned most of all the square at one particular point, all that whole block, 2 blocks from the post office down. Anyway, it's a bit long, but I want to read it because it's a more new poem than all the other ones before, and unpublished as yet, though it is to be published. Anyway, The Professor of Forgetting, the title poem of a book that will be out by this time next year. And it's about 60 lines, so hang in there. And I'll try and go slow because it's very hard to pick up poems in the airwaves. The Professor of Forgetting. A colleague asked why I call everyone darling, love, or kid. A query with an edge saying stop being corny, even on PC. I said nothing, let it go. I'm learning to let so much go. I didn't say I'm long enough in the tooth now to get away with such endearments to the young. Besides, the way the world is going, they need all the affection they can get. Nor do I mention how my memory's going. Rosters of over 70 terms locked away in the inaccessible vaults of my hippocampus. How I can barely manage to retrieve this spring's list before students head off into their unknown lives, wishing them well, with something like love in my tone. A few here, I think, for I have taught them about tone and words. How many classes did I say that like repeating myself? Repeatings, forgetting I'm repeating? Life is so much repetition, so much forgetting. Oh, I think the one I say most, kid, is because of the way my father welcomed me home more than half a life ago. He'd rise, unfold himself above flowers he planted in our suburban garden that he'd retire to after his 8 to 5 day in the composing room of Eagle Printing, sorting sorts, setting characters, justifying, distributing. Unfurled, he'd fix his specs, rub all the red quotation marks on either side of the bridge of his nose, smile, and say, here's the kid. Never a mention of love. It was all in the tone, all between the spaces, the leads, the dingbats, the words. So unassuming, so not in your face. And that was before my mother's taken for granted, seemingly casual, hello, love. I've always been forgetful, haven't I, Ma? Remember how I forgot, left the 3 tassel caps, you know where, my first week in school, woolen hattines you spent all summer knitting. or that Friday, it slipped my noggin to deposit my first wages straight after work, all set to pay my way in life at last. And arriving home found I'd lost it. How could you forget? I hear you. My mind's ear remembers. Remember? You thought I was kidding. I'm forgetting that other country, that other world. I am forgetting. I remember this. Excuse me. Where was I? Oh, my darlings, kids, loves. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Where are you tonight?
Thanks, Billy. I'm in Vermont, back in my home. I'm here about a week.
Are you?
Yeah, this is Billy I'm talking to, right?
Yeah. How's the body?
Great. They're all good. And
Good.
thank you. They're all good, all very good. And you? All family?
Tipping away.
Beautiful. Say hello.
I will. Thanks, Greg. So we'll move on now. Antonio.
Thank you. So this poem is called Gratitude, and since we are close to Christmas, it's a feeling that somehow many times it's for probably a lot of reasons express feeling, and especially Paul, who has created this beautiful environment. Thanks to Billy as well for conduction and all there is the reason why I have written them is because I have taken inspiration from stories here, many beautiful souls that I met on this journey, and through this poem, I wish you a wonderful Christmas and New Year. So this poem is called Gratitude. To the birth of a word is born, grows up in a fertile territory of poems, nourished and cared in the land of poetry, meeting multiple lives, connected and grounded in the earth that feed like roots the branch of creativity and imagination. Unique stories, precious and delicate, who follow the shape of inspiration, fulfilling everything as a delicacy that has stitched gratitude. Educated and guided from outstanding poets. Gratitude breaks up boundaries of an egg, where only for a couple of seconds, regardless from gender, sex, ethnics, country, two souls meet each other. And if you are enough open and ready to come on your chest, the miracle of another heart. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Rain, please. Every time it gets a giggle, does it? Like every time. Okay, let's try that. All right, this is a song about This is a poem about midwinter, the dark day. It's called Noxtis. Shrouded and shines weakly through the veil of clouded silver spun tapestry, dim and pale. Now we have reached the twilight crossing with leaf of embrace. The feast of crow and owl, a grey annual gulf where beasts of woe prowl. Here at the inky nadir, the trough of light's arc is where the year begins to slough off the night stark. Today, the old sun dies. Tomorrow, a new horizon it will arise, aglow in a youthful dawn. This the world will turn. Our stars' rays now scarce will unfurl like a fern. We just have a while for the gloom to fade and restore more virile and will bloom from its darkest days. Our eyes can best see the light. When the bat has passed, we'll praise sunrise after the long night.
No, I appreciate it. I'm gonna read two short poems. This first one is about sort of existential dread and feeling undone as people stare at you, so no way relates to this situation. It's called Mimic. Mimic. You are unnatural to these people, so real it aches, laid in the belly of their world. Rituals disrupted, they move like clockwork under suspicion. Light shuffling, they will detect hurried rattling false knot, find loose thread and shoelace in slow draw of undoing. Flee this lucid dream, anxious poppets, silver unspooling your only trace. Thank you. This is a mirror insecure. Resenting, of course you would. Ask the world what to be. Through. Ghost dancer on tight wire. What fear have I of falling? Earth. Face to glass, I tap Morse code. Hopes dotted and dashed, but only scare the fish. Swim into me, wishes bound up blood to lay eggs. Oh, signs, moth chewed thoughts. Oh, sickly heart murmur from shadow box. Hollow beast of leaves, I haunt intestine streets, wedded to the winds, worried and dreamsick. Thank you.
So now, thanks, Cal. Patricia, please.
Thank you, Billy. This is called Paying It Forward. Mercifully asleep, typecast to the opposite. A hard vocabulary packaged in its essence. Rising into a mess, stone becoming stone. Miserable daytime shoots at the stars. Inching into a considerable sleep. Future creatures. That, not being unexpected, sing day into downtown. I raise front. Gaudy scandal fills his boots. Tell me fortune of the unfulfilled tomorrow. Inflammable desire, watching the detectives, taking out the trash, destination unknown. Christ-like, leaving families to cleave on, not teaching in a dirty classroom, well known. Rules and regulations somehow disentangle themselves. Thank you for your patience, all great. Cutting through vocations for the common good. Handling filthy money like no yesterday. Things I didn't scan, sent home in disgrace. Slipping through fissures, doing much proud. The serious value, love to measure. Crocheted in his gold again. Exalted light goes grave of his own salvation. The curses beatitudes, likened to fact, rewarding to the gallery a whole not fault. Thank you.
So we'll do one more from the room and then we'll go back to Zoom. So Cedric, please.
Paul, I might need you to lower the gain on the first word a little bit. It's going to be loud. Just that one. Yeah, sorry for people who do not like loud noise. That one has to be. Silence! Mine is thumping in my chest. I can't stop it. I can't stop it. I to you. I did. I had to. Just like the day we broke. We. Because I saw you. Ever since all the facts had become noise, my habit had become toys to distract me from you. Silence. Oh, sly lance that yet I stay alive. Listen to the thing. On go. All of my words are firm. Every one of them is a bed. Another of my fiber to mend when it makes a cracking sound. I do not hear anything we say. I scream in the well of our friendship. Maybe at the bottom, there is peace to be found. Silence. Broken. Because we both know there are no riches from mere tokens. But the ship is gone. Strange it is that we decided to lie with one another as we lie to the one grunt of pleasure at a time. Repeated layers of only adding them. Only I don't have someone to explain away or silence. You went back. I can't explicitly blame you. I know. Dancing to two symphonies is way too difficult. especially one that is carrying and worse that can be. How I have been overly arrogant and bold about conquering you. For a moment triumphant, yet ultimately left empty. And now wish you had remained a fantasy. Reality is humbling. Truth is tone deafening. Never loved me. I'm reduced to silence.
Good evening, everyone, once again.
Yeah, we'll back them. So we will just move on to Paul Dillon. Yeah, go on, no?
Maybe we can't hear him.
Okay.
Who knows? Just tell him we can't. Oh, he's back.
He's back there.
This one.
You ready?
Good evening. As you can see, I'm now in the dark. Yeah, I'm now in the dark. The power just went off, but I have the touch. I write most of my poetry for the stage, even though I do publish it in books and stuff, but I write it mainly for the stage. So over the time, I'm figuring out ways to put it into a set. So I've been working on a set titled Voices in My Head. And this is some of the stuff that's in there. You might have heard the poem before, but violence. I'm not choosing violence today. Neither am I choosing peace. I'm choosing me today. I'm rolling loud, puffing until clouds hover over my house. Middle finger to what the neighbors think. I'm choosing me today. I'm kicking back, lying dead on the sofa. I'm choosing me today. Because why should I do it now if I can do it later? That's what I tell myself. Distant plans seem safer. Claiming perfectionism, see, intricate details are fascinating until I realized it was a cover for fearful procrastination. Promising tarred roads for years in a destination. Walk the talk to find my destination, but I can't do that whilst allowing too much hesitation. Talk is cheap. It's not enough to manifest a vision, dreaming big, but spending hours on television, I am on a joystick control, but yet out of control, getting constantly consoled for torn pockets of a gaming console. With the little time I use on my dealings, I make a killing. Yet if I put in more weight to these, I'll be sticking to the ceiling. I'm willing. I'm tired too. And I think you know the feeling. If I did it better, it will come with healing and extinguish the hell in my conscience. Waking up a few minutes before the sun, I just want to be better. I do this for my son, my mother. I am the plan, no more glorifying comfort until I am done. Completing tasks is a therapy session. I recharge through literary meditation, healing my buckles by reading the wisdom of Wallace D. Wackles and Vadim Zeland, cause I wanna be better, I'm gonna be better than what I am today. I wanna be better, I'm gonna be better than what I am today. 'Cause I know that the trees didn't wake up bearing fruit, 'cause I know that the children didn't wake up running fast. Peace.
Just on time.
Hello. Hello. Paul. This poem has two names. It's either Any Last Words or Sleep. Watching the signs crossing the red, point for mixed soft air always since rain. First one all danger. All several times exclamation points. If my friend is running for the set, awesome flaws and selfies shred breakfast and grass over timelines in the gardens beyond the gates of Eden. A glazed nightmare lurks, trembles, news. We'll have no children, laughter, dress. Flicking through the book of the dead, we're too petty flew. You're my favorite raspberry, long and tasty. Sure, money, daylight, say, dream, baby, dream, pulled teeth. No map, dose, trace on a flowchart to figure it out like you always do. Defining me, defining we, and free, naked in your front room. Many people stop and peer through brick wall gate at 3,000 square foot Victorian property next to a hub for homeless families, next to a budget B&B. Dog sprinkle, make it. The sign says sold, potential for conversion. 5 luxury apartments or 11-bed investment. When the children run out to play, they strike the ground with hurleys, make foundations shake, proclaiming. And it's not daunted in its growth. The crane moves by itself and wind On down sight, a crooked house you stand, with windows you never knew of peeking in or out, or telling your mother you're sad and finding with fright there's nothing to be sad about. The crane has no cabins, moves by itself, and the wind round and round and round. Over low ground, bath of grass, a stage for children light with stick in Collins and De Valera's gaze. The subtraction division of young male life touches the depth of musky, the lover's touch of justice, so soon second child, the smooth passive cottage, cheer flung consolation as cartilage dries and bruises ripen. I meet you at the spot, a street you've never been, sellotaped to the bend. My rudder crosses a runner. There's riders over the hedge. The ground stands me up and throws me back to room to train, to passively focus, unfocused between blurred bushes, swipe signs and dirt in run away from rust, roots, ruins, escaping ditches, timelines, life on threads, 2D people, perfect portraits, faulty mirrors, Bluetooth speakers, smashed toilet bowls. This is us. Nasty, comfortable chameleon purrs, sizzling, stuffy, drumming fields. Body of man found in tent in Irish city centre. This is us again. Audible birds flying. Can't put it away. The flag changed, but ruler stayed the same. Connolly died in vain. No redress, no revenge, just barbaric, strangled laughter. Alive in the supermarket, roses and lemonade, La Vie Deliciosa on payday. Coffee, class struggle in baskets of shopping, shoes, shirts, non-fitting glasses, rented rooms, small possessions, black hole recreations, and the gaze gazes into you and says stop trying, and tut-tat-tuts her way away, and I make my way home. I have lived in this city for many years like a bug bite on an elbow. I draw ovals, strange love hearts. I knows the tip top of the cathedral pricks the space between and a competition or a basket of laundry. Quiet electricity flows in west. I'll remember you. This
What needs to be said, man? Please start. You all, yeah.
How's it going? So this is my first poem I'm gonna read here. I wrote it when I was living in Alberta, working on like a little horse ranch, and it's about my least favorite horse. Waking, I pass a stable, brought prairie. Count horses, Heidi asked me last. Open if you can. The silvery chime of the halter at my shoulder is the only sound. In the dim coulee, I step through the creek and pass into quiet willows, where black horses drift through the dawn air, cold dark eyes watching from the trees. Above, the prairie sun is rising. Look for yesterday's ghost on the Porcupine Hill. Far ahead, hope stands, impossibly dark, her head in the grass, named in the light before morning. I watch her, but I don't mind. My eyes half open among horses and dust.
Next we'll have Jude O'Neill, please.
Hello.
Right, where am I going? It has been lost. Oh yeah, here we go. I know how you told me you've thought things quite. I don't know. Normal. Everything's normal. We're all weird. We're all mad here. Left, round, round, right, abound, turning, turning, turn around, right eyes. You're smart. Really smart. I like you. I like you too. I like you, man. I really like you. Like as a person, as a man. Man to man. Maybe. Okay, so sexual conflict? I don't know. What? Maybe. Like, you're awesome. I'd probably kiss you. I'd probably kiss you back if you tried. Probably. Ha. But your body against mine. Rubbing, forcing, sweating, breathing, heaving, warm, wet, caring. I love this. I love you. Beautiful, complex, complicated human, warm, cold, and kind. Need space, room, distance. I like it so much. I need your boundaries. My own are so far away, so grey. Color me. Purple, red, wet. Color me blue in your arms. Touch me, fuck me, throw me. Under my back, under my body, forgetting, lost, unaware. Fire and water. Air with earth. Round and fat. And together. I want to kiss you all over, but not in your mouth. Maybe I want close to you. Warm. Hurt me. Fucking do it. I can take it. Just don't cut me. But me over. Pin me. Press me. Bite me. Slap the sweat off my brow, my back. Slip inside the eye of my mind as you bear yours all out on the table. No holds barred. Fuck me, man. Bro. Brothers. Friend. You don't. Mind yourself as you open your mind and press yours to mine. I know how to hold you. Maybe it's sexual. Maybe we're just men who give a shit. Maybe we just give a shit. It's a big, bright, and wonderful world. Who are you? Who am I? All we have in this moment is and more. This. Look at me. Before I smack you, fucking look at me. Hey. I love you.
So we might go back to Zoom. Is Kira on? Gone. Okay. So we've got 3 left in the room. Sarah Thorson? Sarah.
What us all. I'm here to tell you a story about a drop from a lake, sun up one morning in a cold yet beautiful place. This little chimed its bells. This is wonder and the angels reach as from that world he stole. Most beautiful one. In his merriment he swelled as he twisted it, for he caught her with his flew towards the clouds. He blazed with her, though he knew the day was drawing. As realization struck, he knew that dusk was coming there. His heart sank as did the daylight, awful fear. He knew the new sun's coming, his time's at an end. He knew that from now he may never see the drop, unless he took the wind and the world of glow. So she'd known only sun and heat and hope. So within all his wisdom lured her from the night, and from that moment onward they lived at sight. Entranced within their love-struck ignorance, progressed as he grew in every day, while the seas boiled in their bays. The cloud began to muster on mere storms. His day was ending, yet she knew that take the drop and take her back forevermore. To save the world ill-fated love that hurt the world and sky above, things in fact that she did love with all her heart and mind. So she mustered tears from blazing ignorance with this and time. The sun and drop of honeydew within, with love beyond, in thought and loss and passion, all through great. At noon they held no release, never, excuse me. Noon they knowing and clear, the sun saw the wisps of fog appear. And then so it's other nature's mask. And gazed at her face, budding a her eye. The day passed on as movers and would come nor dusk or noon. Mother was the darkness upon the world again till she found a river lay grew colder. Winter, angels' feathers. It was world was continually tall sky, felt the sun who searched with eyes and arms, with all mind she atop the clouds, alas, denied. Mother's will brought her sound of lost sun burned ever brighter, trying to spare their stricken fighter. They twinkled out their sullen hymns, to no avail their brother dimmed. All the world was cold and dark, no hooting owls nor dogs that barked. The world was caught in silence, the silent fear. All was ever cold, the mother's hand upon her shrunken hot shoulders. No longer danced upon the wind, hung in the sky with all her sisters, her kin, her heart, all those who'd missed her. This love-struck worlds apart, the two with love and hope within, resigned to such and never part. All sisters crowded round the drop, reaching for their beleaguered, returned to them from love's lips. The first such love was forced to end, and formed in the sky above to fill and flood the scorched soil of the past. In fear, the land felt all her woe, as Mother Nature felt it so. She saw the land, its life, this force, new scars where water's fingers enough. With her mind, still the straw with hand on side, and skies where oceans dwelled, or from her exclaim, a shot that was frozen on grey or black the eye, but white with snow. A new hell burned on earth, burned anew and on. And I said, this frozen drop amidst your palm, peace still, I know your heart, the world will have you. I'll leave you here, it is your choice, this place will know your conclusion, as under the death within this land is no delusion. Give the rest of it the next time.
Lee Lynch, please. Up to the mic.
Tonight, but I got sick of usually, and I didn't have anything new, so I'm going to do an old one that I stopped doing because I'm afraid that it sounds insensitive to all the plight and suffering in the world. No, I wrote when things probably not so easy, but it's kind of about amongst all of that, and it's really important to remember to have fun. Global panic at the end of the fashion, all systems are broken. It's overwhelming. It is emissions and mass eviction position. Yet in this epidemic, recreation is to give your amygdala a break, for God's sake. For a while, give it a try. Psychedelic lullabies, whatever it is that makes you smile. Lids, and when you snore, dream of rainbow dinosaurs reciting K-pop love poems to NASCAR drivers in thunderdomes until you wake up giggling. Take things so seriously. There is no script, and the apocalypse is now-ish, so we may as well die by the lock, hold hands, take off our socks, make the grass our bed, share our pillow with ducks, like to give a free second of your day to anything other than play. What was all talk of politics and endorse nonsense? We could wear ships, eat ketchup, eat chips, do somersaults in the nip into the sun, get our maracas, shake along with the crickets and frogs, build a house from logs and furnish it ends and odds, and the floor is lava. There's so much drama, sadness, worrying about jobs, relationships, the empirical conundrum of existence. Don't you distress trying to comprehend philosophy's tests like Zeno's paradox when you could play no Prince, Power Rangers, or witches, flying teenage ninja mutant hero turtle kites. Don't censor your mind to the confines of adult stereotypes, because with all the suffering and fear, it makes a real good time.
And one lady to close the year and the evening, but not everything as it's only 17. Let's hope there'll be a 680th. Closing.
Yeah, I really wanted to have a new poem for you tonight. It's the same one. I think I came a few months ago going, I'm trying to write this poem. Anyway, I'm still trying to write the same poem that I didn't have my rough draft in for tonight. But this year, hello Lauren, hello Roisin. Hey, for the first time, right, coming here for ages, but for the first time I had a poem. How so thank you, Lauren and Roisin, and especially Roisin, because actually I sent a kind of a rough draft and she worked with me on it and asked all the right questions. It's different to the one I sent in. And it's about being in community because it was inspired when I was in a community and we all like being improvisers in the lockdown in a warehouse, and it's called Warehoused, after an improvised dance and sound art jam during lockdown. Before she enters, a cracked shell falls in slow motion. Silence. All bubbles burst into this. Belly drip split light, splat iridescence. Our child hands eluded. Eyes wide. She walks the periphery, bends to two dandelion seeds. Their entwined tumble over concrete. Weightless. We skirt the puddle edge as boughs hop to no tune, scratch notes to breaking, slide and stop. Her open palm ripples. A lean whale song to not forget the ocean. Eyes drop into eyes. See, I listen. Somewhere a door open. Birds sweep in, beakless. Windows, bright where light is in crackered webs. In one, her head appears, disappears. Spiders blister. Wind rises, it's her. We follow past doors that lead our. The whale dives deeper. Our vessel isn't a ship. She mourns the sea, creaks her depths, carries our shingle crash through sunsets.
After tonight's proceedings have come to a close, the gathering is just around the corner, so all are welcome there, and there will be a continuation of the conversation.